Hello, welcome to Design Academy. A student sent this and wanted us to show how to recreate this, okay? This particular mock-up and the embossment and the effects you can see around here. So first off, let's try to dissect and understand what's going on here. Okay, now you see there is a window, assumed window, that is a kind of pointing light shades from it, okay, down to this card, and that gives this card an effect, assuming that there is a light effect on this card. Not just that there is a light effect on this card have an embossment printed on it. I'm talking like assuming this is a real printed card, okay? So we say this card have an embossment on it, and if a light is pointing from the top right, it means that there should be a shadow at the bottom left, okay? And if the light is pointing from the top left, there should be a dark shadow by the left side of the logo, okay? So since we have the light pointing from the right side, as the window can portray, we are having a dark shadow from this edge, and that's why you see this single effects of dark edges in the part of the logo, okay? Now that's number one. Number two thing I noticed about here is the grade of color. You see we have a darker brownish color at the back side, though we can use any color to do this, to achieve this. We can use any color in the background, which I'm going to switch the color we are going to use for the background for the one we'll be creating. Now we still have a color variant of that brown, not the same brown, but a lighter version of that brown. Another thing I noticed here is that there is a little thin line, a little thin bright line at the edge of the card. You can't see this clearly, but I can see it very, very clearly. I can see it, you can see it from this one also. There's a thin line from that edge, okay? And there is a heavy reflection of light at the card, giving a dark shade of shadow at the bottom part of the card. We are going to create all of that. Another thing I noticed is the noisy background. Not only in the background, the noise affected the cards too. Okay, so we have noise all over the place. You can use noise, you decide not to use noise, you can leave that, providing you a noise resources which you'll be using on your own if you want to practice along. So let's get in and start creating. So we're going to do this in Photoshop. First off, we're going to create our layer. We are creating this with a width of 3000 and the height of 2000. Make sure your pixels are not less than 2000 pixels. Okay, 300 resolution is okay, and we hit okay. So now we have our first base. Next thing we need to do is to change the background of this. See what I did first? I unlocked it from the key padlock from here. So double click. I'm talking about new beginners. Okay, now click on the color overlay. Of course, we needed to do that so that we can change the color to a green color. You remember the first one we are having a brownish color from here, but we don't want that anymore. If we wanted that, you can click on this edge and pick the brownish color until you get what matches what you want from here. Okay, this is how to pick a color that matches close to what we want. I can go a little bit higher and darker, a little bit higher and darker. I think this is okay for what we want for this. This is perfect. So, but this is not what we want. We want to go with a darker color, okay? We want to go with a darker shade of green, since we are creating with an overlay of green. So we go with this darker shade of green and we are okay with that. Next, you have to create our card in Illustrator, or you can still create your card in Photoshop if you want to. Okay, you want to create on Photoshop, just click on the three dots option at this edge and click on the rectangular tool if you can't find it from the tool panel. Click on the rectangular tool, you can draw the card size as you want. I think this is cool for what we want. The card color is black, and we can switch that color to whatever color you want. So now we are going with the green, but a lighter version of green. Remember what effect we have from the other side? We had, let me show you, we had this particular background dark, and we have this particular lighter version of what we are creating. So we have this background dark, and we have the lighter version of the card as we have. You can choose any variant of the card as you wish to. Just play around until you get exactly what you are looking at. Now, while we created with this background, we won't be able to create that shadow, the dark shadow from the edge. Okay, creating the dark shadow from the edge won't make much sense. Okay, so we are going to switch this back to the color which we had there. So when we're creating the dark shadow, you can see it very clearly. So let's go with this variant. Let's go with this color variant. I think this is okay. Perfect. So we go with this color and we have the green from here. We are going to create our second card. We've created the first card, we're going to create the second card beneath it. So we just hold on Alt key and duplicate this card as we have from here. So this color, we are going to use the same color we used from the background. Just click on the color and pick from the background color. Now you can now tweak it a little to get what you want. Now the color we are using here is a lighter version of this particular background. So we are going to go a little more lighter than what we have. Let's check again. Okay, let's go a little more east. This is okay. Okay, fine. So let's darken the background a little more, just a little more, so we don't have that, so we can have a better contrast between the card and the order. So fine, I think I like this perfectly well. So we have created our two cards and we have our backgrounds created. Next thing we need to do is to import our logo. Okay, so this is where the trick starts working on our card. So we imported our logo. Let's just clean it up. Clean up. Fine. If you have any question, please drop in the comment section, and remember to like and subscribe if you have not subscribed to this channel yet. So now we have what we have from here. We can now start creating. I would like us to zoom very closely so we can see every effect as we are making it work. So to create these effects, if we observe closely, this particular logo doesn't have any other color. It doesn't even have a color. We are assuming this not having any color at all. I'm gonna show you why that is. Okay, now if we have a color for this logo, we can't achieve that effect because a color can't give us an effect that radiates around the color we already have in the background. So to make the logo colorless, we have to select the same color of the background. That's number one step. Make sure the logo becomes the same color of the background. Okay, that's number one step. Number two step, you head over to your embossed, beveled embossed and enable it. Enable the beveled embossed, and we are going to start seeing some stuff working. Okay, now we enabled it. Go to your, click on the beveled embossed, just click on the elements over there, and here you can do a little more tweaking. You can smoothen it. You can start increasing the bevel level from this particular angle. The bevel is inside, you can pull it outside. Let's leave it inside. The smoothness is okay. Now we can play around with the rest of the thing from here. Okay, the bevel size, you can keep it at 1. I think 1 is okay for me. The softness, you can reduce it a little more. As you can see, the effect is coming up gradually. A little more. Then we can increase the depth a little so that the effect can pop out a little more. So we can decide to push the direction from the top side or from the bottom side. If we are pushing it from the top side, we are assuming that a light reflection is casting from the top to the other side. Okay, now we can push the angle, which is the shading angle, from where we want it to come from. As you can see, as we are pushing this angle, we are assuming that the light is coming from this part. But if the light is coming from the right side, make sure the angle is pushed from the left side. I hope you get it. If it's coming from the bottom left, make sure it's pulled from the bottom left, and that is how we can achieve this. So we are pulling it from the top right. Okay, I think the more closely, look at this circle, the more closely your circle is at this particular edge, the more obvious your effect will be. As you can see from still the same top right, if we push this circle to the edge of the circle we have over here, we are going to see that this effect is going to reduce tremendously, and we don't want that. So make sure it's within the circle or at the middle of the edge where you portray it to be. Okay, now that's the lightning. We can leave this as global lightning. Why we leave it as global lightning is that when we are creating the second card, we want it to portray the same effect as we are having from here. Okay, now let's go in and tweak a little, add a little more depth to our mock-up, a little more depth. I think for something is okay. Let's add a little more size to it. You just have to play around till you get exactly what you are looking at. Okay, I think the depth is too much. Let's make the depth 20, and the size, let's increase the size now. I think let's make the depth can be cool at 40 as it is. Then the softness, we can reduce it if we want or increase it. The softness, like it softens the card, the logo, as you can see from there. It softens the edges. It doesn't make the edges too sharp or too obvious. You can soften it from that angle. You can also choose to make it sharp from here, hard from here, or hard soft from here. But I think smooth is better, as we have from the sample we are presented with. So the rest of the things, you can leave them as it is. You can increase the opacity from here, the opacity of the light I'm talking about, okay? You can increase the opacity of light and choose the kind of color of light you want from here. You can go with the light version of green or darken the green a little more, okay? Whatever color effect, light effect you want, you can choose it from here. You can even choose red effect, but that doesn't make much sense. So we go with a greener, but lighter greener, not too white, not too green, and we select that. That is okay. Opacity, you can increase or decrease it. The more you decrease, you're not going to see anything. The more you increase, you're going to see the effect portray very well. Multiply, leave it as it is. Opacity, leave the opacity of the multiply as it is. Okay, now we are good with that. The opacity of the shadow, actually, as you can see, this is the opacity of the shadow. As it's multiplied, you can increase the opacity of the shadow and leave it. You can either leave it at 50%, but 100% from here, the opacity of the shadow will make much sense from afar. Okay, so we've styled this the way we want. Okay, what you need to do is just hit on OK. You can further click on the contour if you want to add more depth to your styling. Click on the contour and you can increase or decrease your contour from here. But we don't want the contour. The texture, you can also add texture, but we don't want that. We're going to add our own texture above everything. So we are good with what we have from here, and from afar you can see it is looking very, very close to what we have from here, except that our own is too thick and the color we are using for the background is actually not the same color as we have from the green here. So we want to change the color of the background for this card. We can make it a lighter green. Let's choose a lighter green. So we just want us to get close to what we have from that other part. And mind you, the colors you change must have to be reflected on the color of your logo. Okay, the color of your design must have to be reflected. Must have to be reflected. What do I mean? So now we've changed the color of the card. We have to go back to the logo itself. Select on the logo. Okay, and select on the color. You don't need to work on these ones anymore. Just select on the color and pick on that particular color. So whatever color you choose, you're going to affect that particular color grade. Okay, choose a darker one. You have to do that also to the other side. I hope you get the point. Okay, so that's how this works. So we're going to darken the card again. We don't want it to be light. I just wanted to show you guys how that could be done in case you have a lighter color you choose. So now we've created this here. Now we need to create this other option from here. Let's just choose to work with the name of the logo or name of the brand. So reduce the size and place it to the middle of the card. So now we've placed to the middle of the card. Still do the same thing to this one, right? No, we're not going to do the same thing to this. What we're going to do is simply select on the logo we have here, click on option and copy layer style. When you copy layer style, click on this option and paste layer style. So when you paste, you have pasted the style of this layer, but you see it is green. What you need to do, you get it right. Select on the color and pick on the background color, and we have exactly what we need from there. But as you can see, the color here is a kind of, it's nice though, but we don't have exactly the kind of effect as we have in this card. The effect here is very, very nice, okay, and subtle, but that's not the same thing we have from here. Why? Because this is a lighter shade and this is a darker shade. Darker shade have its own effect styling and lighter shade have its own effect styling. Now let's go and tweak this effect styling for this a little while. Okay, so let's go very quickly and style this particular shade as we have from the lighter version. So we click on the bathe embossment. In the depth, we can do a little bit of tweaking. Let's try to increase it. That's too much. Let's leave it at 53. Okay, this up, and we can reflect it. You see this kind of effect we make can also make sense for the card, assuming that it is stamped from inside. But this is not what we want. We still want it to be up. Then the size, we can increase it a little more, just a little more. And the softness, I think don't even need a softness at all. So we have this shade from here. Opacity, we don't want any opacity at all. And the darker color opacity, the style from here, the brightness from here, we want it to be the color of the card. Okay, perfect. So fine, I think the shadow from here, we need to reduce the opacity a little, just a little, and we are good to go. So perfect. We are done styling our cards. So we have the card for this and we have the order for this. Okay, now what next we noticed in this particular styling was the lightning from the top right side. So we can create that from Illustrator. So what we're gonna do is create some kind of lines, long line, and we duplicate this, and we duplicate this. I think this is okay. Now we are gonna create another, or gonna draw a kind of, let's see, perfect. We're gonna draw a kind of line from here, escape. So we're gonna draw a line from here to this edge, just to erase all of this. Select on all of them and hold the Alt key, and our tutorials on how to cut this stuff. So select on everything and we are gonna push them inside of this, above every other thing. Okay, above every other thing. Then skew it from this angle. Let's see from the angle the light is pushing out from. Okay, from that angle. So push it down like so, and we're gonna expand it like this. So we're assuming this is a window. So fine. Now we have that color from there. One thing again we need to do is to go to effects, I think filter. We're gonna blur and the Gaussian blur, enable Gaussian blur, and we increase the Gaussian blur to this effect, and we click on OK. Just play around till you get what you want. Next, we are going to have to reduce the opacity of the blur effect. Okay, so when we reduce the opacity a little, we have gotten exactly what we need. I think the background needs to be darkened a little to allow the light reflection to work perfectly well. Fine. I think this is cool. Now the card, the light, we can do a little bit more work from the light. Just select on the light and select on the color. We're going to use a lighter version of the background. Okay, and let's use a lighter version. This is cool. Perfect. Okay, and it's not affecting well. It's not affecting well on the card. Let's see what we have from here. Okay, as you can see from here, the light effect is affecting well from the card, on the card, and also on the background. But what we have here is not working that same way. What we're going to do is to increase the Gaussian blur. Okay, increase the Gaussian blur, increase it a little more, and let's color overlay. Let's remove the color overlay and reduce the opacity. The fill, okay, let's leave the opacity and reduce the fill. Reduce the fill. I think the fill is where we are having issues. So leave opacity as at a minimal, okay, and work on your fill a little. I'm not a professional at working on elements like this, manipulating background. So, but at least we have what we are looking at, or close to what we are looking at. Can tweak it a little more. And also, what you should understand is why this might be more difficult for us to achieve. As you can see, the color effect is working from these other angles. Okay, why this might be a little more uneven like we have in the card is because, as you can see from the card, we have a lighter version of this card from here. The color we have here is heavier than the one we have from there. Okay, so let's try one thing. Okay, I like us to try this together and see the problem we are having and how to solve it right in front of us here. So first off, let's select the color of the card. Let's make sure our card is the same color. Let's make sure our card is the same color with this particular one. Okay, you see the card is the same color now, and that's cool. Okay, I noticed another problem now. So fine, we have the card as the same color, and we click on OK. Then the logo also, we are going to make the logo the same color. Select on the logo. Where is the logo icon? Okay, fine. So double click on the logo, and we are going to make it the same color as we have over here. Okay, is almost, but I don't like that. So let's make it a little bit darker. So this close, this close. Okay, this fine, I think. Okay, okay. Then reduce the opacity of the logo a little. Perfect. So as you can see, it's working out. This works perfectly well. This works perfectly well because the color of the card now is lighter shade. The color of the card we have here, I think I don't like it. Let's see the color of the card. Let's pick from the color we have from this other card too. So we pick the color from this other card, and this color is a little bit, I think, brighter. This is cool. Okay, and we are going to still do the same to the logo or the icon as we have from there. Okay, we're going to change this to be the same color from the card as we have. Fine. So as you can see, everything is working out well. Now the next thing is the shadows on the card. We need to work on the shadows on the card very quickly. So select on any of the card. Let's select on this, and we drop a shadow. Okay, when you're dropping a shadow, drop a shadow from here. Select on a shadow, it's too heavy. Opacity can increase, no problem, depending on the shadow you want. And the shadow we want from here is the distance. We want it to be very slim. The size, we don't want any size from the shadow. Just increase the distance a little like so, and just a little like so. The opacity of the color should be darker, because a little more darker, a little, because the one we have in the card is still the same way. Okay, and I think this is okay. This okay, this okay. The distance, okay, fine. Distance is okay now. Perfect. So the card again, what else we need to do is to add a stroke. Okay, click on a stroke, reduce it to like 4. The stroke can be 4, and select on the card, pick on the card color. Okay, then go up a little to achieve that particular effect as we have from here. Let's click on OK. Opacity, we want it outside, we want it inside. It's okay outside. The blend mode, I think if there could be a way we could manipulate our card to only have this shade at the other edge. The simple way to do that is to duplicate this card, the one at the back, you give it the shadow and erase it from this part. I hope you get the point. But let me show you what I mean by that. Or secondly, you can increase the drop shadow from 9. Let's increase it to about okay, this is cool. Then the stroke, let's reduce the opacity a little. Okay, 4. Fine, I think I like this now. Fine, whatever works for you. Okay, we don't need to waste much time on this, but if you wanted to achieve this without the shade from this other end, what you're going to do is duplicate this card. We have this duplicated. What? So we have this card. Where is the card? Where is your card? Okay, so we have this card. All you need to do is to duplicate it. Ctrl J to duplicate it. The one beneath, the one above, we are going to remove the stroke, the stroke. Yes, we're going to remove the stroke. The one beneath, this is the one above, we are remove the stroke. The one beneath, we are going to leave the stroke on it. But look at what we are going to do. Okay, look at what we are going to do. We are going to erase some parts of the card with the eraser tool. Where is the eraser tool? Select on the eraser tool. Okay, and you're going to click to erase some part. I'm just giving you an instance of how to achieve that effect, that smooth effect from that edge. So as you have erased this part, you see we have the card effect from this other end, but not from this other end. Okay, and select on it the card stroke. Make sure the card stroke, at least it should be, you mustn't do everything you can do from inside. Okay, if it's from inside, you can now pop it out a little by using your arrow key. Pop it out a little, and you can still select on it again and increase the size till it touches the edge. So fine, we achieved that particular effect, and that's how to achieve that effect from that edge. You have that light shining from this edge and you have only dark from this other edge. I hope you get the point. So the dark from this edge, I think we can make it, the drop shadow, increase it a little more. Fine. So the card style from here, we'll copy it and we're going to paste here, but we're not going to do that, okay, because if we do, the color will also follow along. So let's just select on the card from here. Select from the card from here, double click, and we're going to add the drop shadow. I wonder why this is not globally used. So remove the global lights. Let's play around with the distance, the size, increase distance a little, opacity increased. Fine. We achieved the same close stuff as we have from here. Okay, and the same effect you can apply from here, like I told you in a few moments ago. So we've done achieving the shades, we have done achieving, now it is left for the noise. I think I have a noise file from a work I did for someone. I think PDP, and I've got, I think from this one, we have a noise from here. So we are going to import the noise to that particular one. Make sure you are above every other thing, okay? The noise is going to be above. So see, look at the noise as we have over here. This noise over here is what we're going to use. So unlock the noise and drag the noise into that part. Fine. So the noise, we can increase the size of the noise a lot, okay? If you want to achieve the noise, if you want to make the noise too bold, you see the noise we have here is too bold, it's not too slicky. You can achieve that from like so. So hit on enter, we are good to go. You can reduce the opacity of the noise if it is too much. Reduce the opacity, and we've achieved what we are looking at. I think the noise also gave a kind of nicer feel, or a kind of nice drop feel to the light from the window side. Light from the window side, or light's not perfect to me. So this is simply how to achieve the higher quality or higher resolution of what we had outside. The noise will be provided you in the link in the description of this video. Make sure to subscribe, like this video if you enjoyed the tutorial, and this is practically how we achieved the effect as we have here, or close to the effect as we have here. This is a tutorial. I'm just trying to be fast so I don't waste much time. If I take my time to prepare this, you're going to get exactly what we have here, or even better than what we have here. But at least with what we have, it gives you the understanding or the idea of exactly what we are looking at, or how to achieve what we have in front of us. Okay, so you can create this as a mock-up. I'll teach you guys how to modify this as a mock-up, so you don't need to start playing around with this anymore. Next time, all you need to do is double click on the smart objects, okay, and replace your image. Simply how to do that, you can convert this particular logo to a smart object, okay. Can convert to a smart object, convert to smart object, and as soon as you do so you can practically double click on it, it opens, you drop your logo from here, and it becomes a mock-up. When you drop a logo from there, save it, it reflects here. The same thing here, that's just how you create mock-up. I'm going to create a free course on how to make mock-ups, okay? I'll teach you guys how mock-ups are made. First of all, I have to teach you guys to understand how mock-up works first, then I'll teach you guys how to create mock-up. But this basic mock-up, this simple mock-up, at least you understand how to create this embossed form of mock-up. Okay, thank you guys. Click on the subscribe button if you have not, like this video if you have not, and do have a wonderful day till we meet again.